big questions in the ACC right now, and some of them may be on your radar and some of them may not be. Is Clemson's offense going to be better this year? How much better? How much better? If you say yes, how much better will it be? Because Garrett Riley, when he got hired as the OC there last year, I celebrated it. I still think it's worth celebrating, but they were 98th in yards per play last year. Now, I think a lot of people who watched Clemson would attribute that to the fact that they didn't have good enough football players to be, well, let me scratch that, because they should have been better than that with their roster. They didn't have the football players on that side of the ball to be at the elite level. And I'm specifically talking about wide receiver. Now, I've been on this Clemson wide receiver kick for a few years with good reason. But Tyler Brown is a name that excites me there. Antonio Williams, couple of freshmen they got in there, they may be overhauling the type of personnel that they have in that wide receiver room. Now, I'm not saying they're going back to vintage mid to late 20-teens Clemson quite yet, but I think that room will be noticeably better than it has been over the past couple of years. Cade Klubnik, just limit the turnovers. Offensively, just limit the turnovers. I think they'll be better this year. How much better, I guess is my question. What about Florida State? Florida State, couple of things here. So they've got a new look defense, and they're losing some wide receiver talent to the draft. Now, on the defensive side, this is wild now. Florida State, you go all three levels of the defense. They're losing 135 starts on the D-line, 93 starts at linebacker, 101 starts at DB. I kind of still like what they have at DB. I have a lot of questions about what they are up front. So that's number one. Number two is, what am I going to get out of that wide receiver room? It's a big-time talent heading out. Hakeem Williams is down there. And he committed, didn't even have to transfer him in. But Keon Coleman, Johnny Wilson, it's very, very tough to just replace the numbers that are walking out the door. But in the aggregate, you can do it. It's a complementary sport, and I implicitly trust Mike Norvell. I think that became very apparent last year. What about Miami? What about the DB position at Miami? It's one of the deepest rosters actually in the ACC, believe it or not. They've recruited well, they've portaled well. But the DB position, they lost Cam Kitchens and James Williams, safety combo there, and they lost a couple of corners as well. Now, obviously, they have, like I said, recruited well. They will replenish through the portal. It's also a program that I think is going to be a very hot commodity after the spring, that post-spring portal window. So I'm looking at Miami in the defensive backfield. I'm going to Chapel Hill for a second. I'm looking at North Carolina. Drake May's not there anymore. So it's been a weird thing here. I don't know. You North Carolina fans can decide how you feel about this. Anytime you have a high-level, like NFL-type quarterback prospect for several years, and you don't win anything highly noteworthy, do you feel like it was a wasted era? That's an open-ended question. Like, I feel that way about Caleb Williams at USC. I don't know if you guys do or don't feel the same way at North Carolina. But Drake May's gone. So the O-line QB combination is my question here. The recruiting and portaling has not necessarily been at a level that would indicate to me, oh, they'll be okay, they'll be fine. I don't feel that way necessarily about North Carolina. They're 127th in returning production, and basically what you have this year, you know who the quarterback is at North Carolina, by the way? Anyone remember Max Johnson, the former lefty from Texas A&M? He's at North Carolina now. You got him, and you got an offensive line that's having to replace 168 combined starts, career starts. Will they do it? Time will tell. I also need to remind you, speaking of transfer quarterbacks, Tyler Shuck, most recently seen at Louisville. Yes, Tyler Shuck has not played more than 7 games since 2020. But if he can, we all remember that stat that was floating around last year. What was it, Jesse? They were... I should not have even started to say this because I can't remember most of the stat. Anyway, the spirit of it was, when Tyler Shuck plays an entire year, his team can be pretty good. Will he be able to play an entire year this year? And also, I know you think offense when you think Louisville. They don't have a bad defense. They're top 10 in returning defensive production. So maybe as they ease him into it, maybe defense can carry the water a little bit for him. They had to really work. They had like a Syracuse schedule last year. Syracuse has got the Louisville schedule this year is the different way to say that.